Are we actually live? Are we actually live for once in my life? Oh my, OMG, OMG. Hold on. Let's see, is it actually working right now? I think it is actually working, and I think the internet quality is actually decent as well. And holy shit, we have a video. Oh my God, it's actually been done. I thought it couldn't be done, but apparently we've done it a little bit later than what I would have liked, but hey, it is what it is, I suppose, on today. So let me just update the Discord right there and get this one actually moving. So let's see, live stream. There we go. Boom. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Nope. Already buffering. Fucking great. Okay. Let's see how often this one goes. Shouldn't be that bad. I mean, I'm actually getting like decent internet quality now, but apparently not great. Not great. Yeah, definitely not decent, says Joe. Okay, is this going to be better? Should we just get rid of the Ethernet cable? Get rid of T-Angus? Yeah, man, it is fucking terrible. This is your reminder. This is your daily reminder. Don't get T-Mobile. T-Mobile's terrible. The worst one of the worst one, the worst possible one. God, man, God. Okay, well, I just tried something a little bit different here. Hopefully that fixes the issue. But yeah, your daily reminder, T-Mobile is absolutely terrible. And another fucking buffering. Oh, great. Oh, great. Yeah, I probably need some Starlink at this point. Anyways, I actually did put in Ethernet and no difference. Motherfucker. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable how bad this is. Well, let's do a speed test here really quickly. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good at all, unfortunately. Gonna try a speed test really quickly here. I'll even show you the results. Wait, actually probably shouldn't show you because it's gonna give away my locations. Maybe not a wise idea to be doing. But yeah, actually does seem to be improving maybe a little bit here. So let's let it run for a moment and hopefully we should be good. Nope, another buffering. That's fucking great. And my upload speed is 0. It's literally 0. Great. God. Like, why is it so bad? Why is it actually so bad? Yeah, this is god awful again. Piece of fucking shit. Well, that sucks. I literally have less than 1 megabyte per second upload. Great internet, T-Mobile. Fucking great. You guys have done a phenomenal job. As always. As always. Might need to just upload a straight up video today. We'll see. Okay, I'll give it just another couple minutes. If it doesn't improve by then we will upload. What? Well, let's see if it improves if I get rid of the camera here. Maybe it's my face. Hold on. There we go. Turn that one off. Maybe that's what's eating up all the shit there. Okay, turn that off. Boom and boom. All right, let's see. Okay. Yes, we will give refunds for all of the broken streams. Just contact Elsa at crowntrading.net and all good. Yeah, I have turned off the camera now. Hopefully this has fixed the issue, but let's see. It's going to take a few minutes or probably a few seconds to, yep, there we go. All right. I'm just waiting for the camera to turn off. For some reason, it is, first I couldn't get it to turn on. Now I can't get it to turn off. Amazing, amazing video quality. Holy fucking moly. Apparently, okay, I see what's going on. The stream is on a pretty distant, lag. Okay, not very. Discord live group chat. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, man. My actual internet quality right now is just god awful, man. It is terrible. It is less than 1 megabyte per second to upload, but I've just made a few adjustments here, so maybe this will fix it. If not, I'll just do a regular video upload. But if we can do a stream, I'd love to do a stream because today's, things are actually happening right now. We're starting to see a lot of these setups play out. And I'm starting to notice that it looks like things are a little better now. I haven't seen a boofer in a while, so let's see. Let's give it a moment. Let's give it a moment here. I think the camera was the issue. My face once again. Let's see. Why isn't it turned off yet though? I guess I must be on like a fucking 2-minute lag. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm turning off the camera. Don't worry, it's coming off. It's coming off. But for some reason, yeah, okay. Is it gonna do it now? Yes. Okay, should be a little bit better. I'm just, if you're wondering what I'm watching on the side of my screen, it's my own stream, but that seems to have done something. That seems to have fixed something here. So I think maybe we might be good to go now. Yeah, just like 65% of frames dropped over the past minute. Okay, now we're working. All right, great. Fucking praise the Lord, man. Just gonna sit through multiple minutes of me cursing this just terrible internet. No, it still seems to be terrible, honestly. Yeah, maybe not working better. Let's see. Yeah, that's not working. All right. No, I don't. It's still buffering. I think we might have to cancel this one as well and just do a regular upload today. That sucks, man. That fucking sucks. I really want to do a live stream. I was really looking forward to this, actually. Why is it like this? For real? Why is it like this? Can you turn off the red candles as well? Yeah, no problem, man. I'll stop the old selling there. Oh, God. Yeah, terrible. Elsa's not even on her computer right now. The device is up? Okay. All right. Are we? Nope. Okay. This sucks. This fucking sucks, man. Go back to regular internet here. Maybe this will be a fix. Maybe not. Let's see. All right. Give it another minute. If it doesn't improve, then no dice. But I think, nope, it's not better. It's still terrible. Still absolutely god awful. Amazing. Fucking amazing. Yeah, man. No, personal hotspot's not going to be good, I don't think. But I'm just waiting for the stream to update here. That's hopefully going to fix it, but there's no promises right now. That's the unfortunate reality. Looks like it hasn't boofed in the last like 20 seconds, so that's actually quite good. That's an improvement. I don't know. Maybe we're good to go now. Are we good to go? Let's see. I'll wait it up. We'll talk it out. That Cam needs its own shitcoin. I know it really does, man, because it is fucking down. You're goddamn right about that, Ben's chair. Yeah, man, super annoying, but I think we're actually getting a little bit better now. Apparently, disconnecting the Ethernet cable is what improved things, so wasn't expecting that. But it just is what it is, man. That's what it's got to be today, so that's how we're going to roll. And I think we actually are doing better now. Cameras off for me. Yeah, man, I hear you, man. T-Mobiles hate cameras. I don't know what the hell is going on, to be honest with you. My upload speed when I tested it was literally a little bit less than 1 megabyte per second. Like if I could visualize how bad of a connection that is, it would be worse than a snail that took too much edibles and is on heroin as well and just stuck right there. That's basically the internet speed as of this moment. It's absolutely insane. But I think that we actually have fixed things up. Apparently disconnecting the Ethernet cable was the key. Who would have fucking thought that, man? But I just can't wait for the day that we get new internet here. Maybe I just need to upgrade. What the hell is going on? Because it is pathetic and it is embarrassing, and I really do apologize about it because I really do hate when I hate any sort of technical issue. Oh man, I hate it. But yeah, we are working a lot better now, so we're good to go on that end. Again, apologies for the early stream mishaps, but we got a lot of things going on here, man. We got a lot of things going on. We got our Cyber Monday sale going on. We got Blacked 20 still, code still working there, but more importantly, let's go check out some traditional markets before the stream shits out again, because that would be good. That would be a good idea. So I did want to acknowledge that when we spoke about December statistics last week, one of the primary biases was down early in December would be a good thing, for Bitcoin and markets in general. Put in the low of the month very early within the month, because that is typically the statistics that we do actually see for December. You know, the low of the month is relatively early within the month, especially on positive closing Decembers. It's around day number 3 or day number 4. Right now we're on day number 1, so I do still think that there's a little bit of chance here. But ultimately, we are starting to see some of the areas that we were looking for already hit, that being the mid to low $80,000 territory. For traditional markets, these ones are a lot more stronger here, obviously. And while we did see while we are seeing a pullback as of right now, I don't have any major issue with this as long as it is still above that most recent price action pivots trend line here, the extension, which is currently coming in somewhere around about $25,000 even. We did see a nice pullback to open up the day. That's okay, but as long as it's above $25,000, I have no issues with this. Below $25,000, I do look at another big move to the downside for traditional markets, that being NASDAQ futures right here, probably back down to at least 24.4 to 24.3 region with potential to play out a major head and shoulders. But for right now, I do look at this one as still up and to the right. I do look at this pullback early within the month as a good thing. You can see very clearly here on the weekly time frame, which we lined up literally on yesterday's video, which I'm curious about the feedback on that video. You know, do people want a weekly sort of traditional market overview? Because I really enjoy doing that because I'm going to do it for myself anyways. You know, like I actually need to do that work for my own long-term investments in traditional markets. So I figure might as well be a good idea to, and the stream's down again. What has gone on now? Are we screwed? Okay. I think it's back. So I think it's okay. But yeah, anyways, where was I? Yeah. So on yesterday's video, when we were going over traditional markets, we did say, hey, the weekly retesting that red 5 EMA for both NASDAQ and SPY futures is expected. And I do consider this move to the downside to open up today, Monday on December 1st as that test. So if you are going to be bullish on traditional markets, I think that is more or less the position to be, in from. And again, I really don't have any major issues with this more long term, as long as you are above last week's low. If you just want a nice and easy pivot, below there, then do kind of have to look at this as a head and shoulders reversal pattern. But until that happens, I'm going to be betting on what traditional markets do most, which is go up and to the fucking right, baby. Up and to the right. Yeah, that K-hole snail, baby. K-hole snail. Your head is Frankenstein-like. Anyways, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Mr. Sequoia. You also are a very shitty Toyota car. No, kidding, man. We get USA Crown, but we can't have it all. Yeah, man. I'm just going to go to T-Mobile after the stream and say, hey, so how about that internet, man? How about that internet? Anyways, you had a conflicting IP. Maybe it could be. I'm not really sure what the issue was, because for a moment when I tested my internet before starting the stream, it was giving me like 30 to 40 megabit per second upload. And that would be great. I mean, you can run all sorts of streams on that. We could do 1440p, but as soon as I started it, it went down to less than 1 megabyte per second upload, which is just insane, man. Like, there's no way you can run Pornhub on that sort of well, I guess you need more of a download speed for that, but you know what I mean? You can't upload to Pornhub if that's your thing. So just a reminder out there in the world. We'll get to all the super chats in a moment, or I guess we'll actually go through Bitcoin in a moment. But first things first, I do want to get a little bit more through traditional markets. Let's look at the higher term timeframes here as well. Looking at the monthly time frame, again, monthly did more or less close as a long-legged doji dildo right here for November. I do look at this as a good thing. If it does get a correction down to the red moving average, that's okay as well. Again, does not negate last week's low, but below last week's low, big fucking problems. Until then, all pullbacks are higher lows, and still more or less bullish here. Looking at our RSI indicator for the monthly time frame, there would be bearish divergence if it did put in a local high here, but there is not a local high as of yet. It would need to really come back down again below last week's low at the earliest to define that. So I don't have any issues with that. Maybe NASDAQ is more of an issue. Let's see. I mean, it is potential there for sure. Yeah, it is potential there. We do have that trend line that we marked off on yesterday's video. But again, until this confirms as a local high, it is not a anchor for a divergence point. So again, coming back down below last week's low, that will start to initiate divergence. That will start to initiate greater corrections. But until then, yeah, I'm going with up and to the right, baby. I'm going with up and to the right with a little bit of sideways in the middle as well. Anyways, man, yeah, actually a bare moon. Do we have a bare moon? Is it a bare moon time? Let's actually see. I haven't looked in a little while, but maybe it is time. Let's see. No stream is fine. Yeah, that also works too. Let's see. Got my moon charts right here. Oh no, it has been a bear moon for a while. It's been a bear moon since the 20th of November. Let's see when this one does end. That will end on the 15th, or sorry, 15 days from that point. So that's gonna be Friday the 5th. Yeah, so Friday the 5th, until that time, probably looking at a corrective period. Again, I don't really think that we're going to be going lower than the November low, to be honest with you, at least not on a closing basis. I do think that this is a good sort of relative bottoming point, not necessarily for a all-time low for forever, but, it should be a bigger bounce area, even after Bitcoin did fail that $91,000 and $92,000 region, which again, we did expect on this channel coming into the last few weeks at the end of November is what I'm trying to say. Now let me get back to all my damn charts here. Got my momentum. Okay, let's go back to this chart as well. Let's also check in on the HPDR as the new month opens. So all of these things I haven't had time to do, unfortunately, because I've been running around trying to get this fucking stream. But yeah, on yesterday's video, exactly, man, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna plan to continue to do that. If people tune in, that's great. If people don't tune in, well, that's also great, I suppose. But like I said, I need to do that work for myself anyways, so I figure I might as well post it on YouTube. Anyways, looking at SPY futures on the weekly, it did close and reclaim that median on the HPDR. So I do have a bullish bias here, reconnecting with the median to open up this new week. Again, not a problem. I'm generally looking for this thing to trade back up towards about almost $7,000. I mean, at that point, why not just send it to new all-time highs? That thing did just have about a 6% correction. So I look at this as fine. NASDAQ, not as strong, actually kind of using the median right now as a bit of a resistance point. But if it can reclaim that intra-week here, that would look very, 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 very good for getting tech sector back up to 26,000 plus. We're probably talking about prior all-time highs and probably beyond from there as well. Anyways, I shall take a sip of this water. And Spark It just noted that Bitcoin's actually negative for the year. Let's see. Actually, probably is, right? Opening the year a little bit above. Yeah. Yeah, you are indeed correct, sir. Opened the year at 94,000, and right now trading almost $10,000 below that number. So that is looking pretty ugly. Not gonna lie, that looks pretty fucking ugly, man. Wow. Okay, that would be problematic, certainly. But let's give it a chance first. Let's give it a chance. Anyways, I know exactly what T-Mobile will say. Speeds may vary depending on location and proximity to towers. Yeah, of course. I don't know, but do you think it's going to be worth it to just upgrade the internet, say like instead of their, I don't know, I think I have whatever their highest package is, I have the second one from that, I believe. So maybe if I go up to the highest one, then I'll get decent internet for streaming. Who knows? Google Fiber is coming very soon. I'm told very, very soon, but it couldn't come sooner. I'll put it that way. But yeah, let me get all the rest of my charts back up here. Then we'll go through Bitcoin, of course. And then we'll go through the super chats and regular chats. But I need all of my stuff. I had it all nicely set up before the stream. And then I had been fucked by the gods once again. Yes, gods have put cock in ass and started further ramming actions. So, God, man, very, very annoying. But I think we will persevere on this one. I think this is salvageable at this moment. Maybe not for Bitcoin, but at least for the stream, perhaps. Anyways, let's go back to our major Bitcoin charts here. Okay, let me get up my notes as well. I had to get rid of those in the meantime, and we will get it rolling. We shall get it rolling. Crown, you're never supposed to get internet from phone providers. I know, man. I know it does suck. It does suck. Lesson learned. So the reason why I got this one was actually because I was told Google Fiber would be arriving, very soon. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it. I'll just get, some cheapo internet first. And then once Google Fiber comes up, then we'll get that. And apparently that was a bad decision. So that was a bad decision in hindsight. Very bad decision. But life goes on, man. Life goes on. All right, I got some notes up over here. Let me just get the proper charts up as well. Do I have my setup chart? No, I don't. Okay, let's go back through here and let's bring it up on my... There we go. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. More beautiful action. All right, cool. Jesus, man, I think I've gotten like a million messages in the past 10 minutes. Phone is blowing up as usual. Bit overwhelming, I will say. Okay, so we got that there. Where is my old McDonald's chart? Yes, old McDonald's. All right, cool. Okay, let's get through some Bitcoin price action right here. I love the traditional market TA more than the altcoins. Yeah, I certainly feel that way myself. I certainly feel that way myself, man. 4 hour and extremes. We can look at it on the HPDR in a moment, but it's very possible that it may be. But yeah, minus 24% on the Q4 for Bitcoin. Well, so far, not so good. The average loss, however, for a negative closing December is, I think, around like 13% though. So it's usually not like a terrible red month, even if it is a red month. But yeah. Anyways, let's go through some Bitcoin price action analysis here. Monday, it's one of the most likely days to close positively out of any weekday since this bull market began in 2023. However, I have my doubts about this Monday. I'll put it that way. 54.25% have closed positively during that time frame. What's most interesting, however, is going to be the average gain and the average loss. In this case, the average loss has obviously been massively exceeded as of right now. I'm curious to see if we did get a bounce around that region. It was at 88,600. Did we get an intraday bounce there earlier in the day? And yes, there was a bounce above that number right here. Not the best one, but yeah, it did indeed happen. Let me put this actually on my own time zone. Okay, there we go. It did get a bounce after overshooting it a little bit, but there was a bit of a bounce there, but not the proverbial one that you typically look for. Does happen in more extreme moves. Anyways, never revenge trade your internet. It's possible I might be doing this, man. Google Fireworks off T-Mobile. Does it really? Oh god, that's terrible news. But it's fiber though. It's fiber. It should be completely different, right? Wow. Okay. Starlink is an option. That'd be cool. Anyways. Okay. Yeah. As far as price action statistics go for the daily time frame, yeah, this one's obviously already been met. So I'll go off the topic there. But yeah, there actually was a bit of a bounce from that number. It wasn't a tremendous bounce. It wasn't an amazing bounce, but yeah, it did happen, I suppose. I don't know how. Yeah. Don't know how great that one was, though, to be honest with you. Anyways, moving on from there, we do have the setup from last week. This was a big one, and this has been governing the bias on this channel upon many different time frames, and it's done it once again, and it's actually still active here too. So this is the red 5 EMA, or in this case, actually the 4 EMA is what I'm using for this particular setup, versus the yellow 21 EMA. Whenever these cross, we generally get a correction down to the green moving average, which is the 55 EMA, as like a minimum viable target. Meaning that at least price action gets there, and in many cases, lower. So if we go throughout history of Bitcoin, you've seen this happen 1, 2, 3, 4 times in Bitcoin's history. Sometimes it hits that green moving average relatively soon after firing off the setup, which happened actually in 2019 a couple of times. But in many cases, it does take several months. Actually, that would be 2018 and 2021 respectively for 4 instances of that. Now, in this case, we've actually not seen this minimum target hit after the setup fired off officially yet. The green 55 EMA is at 83,350. So there's 2 ways that this one could potentially get tested on this current period, which ends at the end of this coming week. So this next 2-week period will end on Sunday. The first way, and probably the most likely way, is that Bitcoin will come down exactly to that green 55 EMA, which is 83,350. If you see that, yes, okay, condition is fulfilled. Maybe there's a bounce, on top of that, but condition would be fulfilled. On the other side, the other way that this could be fulfilled is that if Bitcoin bounces, oh shit, I have a delivery coming. 1 moment. Hello? Hello, Eddie? Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Sumo from Megaponic. Yes, sir. I'm seeing the gate. Oh. Yes. Can you just put in the code? Oh, are you at the All right, Elsa's letting in some furniture, guys. Yeah, again, moving pains, getting shit delivered at all hours of the day if it doesn't fit in my fucking truck. Anyways, yes, okay, so the first way that this condition gets fulfilled is that Bitcoin will officially come down to exactly 83,350 and test it. The other way is that Bitcoin bounces before Sunday, decently enough to where that 55 EMA does get pulled up to the current low, which is 83,871. Not that big of a difference. So I would say if you were looking at this setup as likely to get get that move to the downside, meaning likely to get all the way down to the mid to low 80s, the easy portion of that's already played out. And we pretty much saw it play out as soon as December opened, which is, again, in my opinion, a better sign, because as long as that setup was active, there was always going to be a magnet to the downside, drawing us closer and closer to that green 55 EMA. But now that we could look at that as pretty much fulfilled, although I do think that you will get the official test. I actually do think that you will get that official downside test. I'd say if you were in that trade, if you were looking for that move to happen, the overwhelming majority of that move happened. We were calling that out when Bitcoin was trading 91, 92, 93,000 bucks, and now it's about 10,000 bucks lower. So I would say that is kind of done and goes to the wayside. And while yes, Bitcoin probably does graze it officially at some point in this week, hopefully today, to be honest with you, but hopefully today, then at that point, yeah. I would consider that fulfilled, and we can get on to potentially looking for a bigger bounce. I suppose that is still possible, but as it stands right now, there's not really much else to update with this particular setup. We've just seen it play out on so many different time frames now. The 12-hour, the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, the 5-day, the 8-day, the 10-day, the weekly, now the bi-weekly, and again, just keeping us honest on this channel. Now I'm curious to see, do we have another time frame brewing with this setup that could initiate even further targets to the downside? Let's go to the 3-week time frame right here, and there is very much potential of this in the next period. So this 3-week period will close at the end of this week on Sunday, and for CME, obviously that will be Friday. And this particular setup has just as good results as the bi-weekly setup. It's happened 4 prior times, and in fact, this one actually has been, funnily enough, profitable every time. Not that I look at this as like a great trading setup, but it does give us downside areas of interest. Now we can see that most of these have actually taken about the same time as well. So let's measure these out if this does fire off, because it could give a real bias going into the end of this year / beginning of 2026. This first one over here took about 84 days or nearly 3 months to play out from signal given to test officially had. The one following this in 2017 and 2018 was again 84 days. So quite literally right on the money there again in terms of days. If we go to the one after that in 2019, this one also took 70 days. Again, this was during the Rona pandemic, so a little bit of a black swan there. It was, I would say, still consistently around that time, but yeah, it was a little bit earlier. Instead of 84 days, 70 days right here. And then of course, the most recent one was in 2021 and 2022. This one taking 84 days as well to meet that green 55 EMA minimum target. Now, I do want to also acknowledge that anytime this setup has fired off, cycle's been over. And while that green 55 EMA was a target, it got exceeded significantly. I mean, Bitcoin was deviating from that moving average by, many percent. So let's actually measure it out. So this one deviated by, close to 45%. That's a lot. What did this one over here deviate by? Let's need to do this because I got locks on, but 33 is about 38%. Again, I'd say that that's rather large. Of course, we got the Rona dump over here. This one was about almost 40%. So on the lower end, we're looking at 30%. On the higher end, we're looking at, 40, 50%. This one over here, this one went almost 50% to the downside from the green 55 EMA. So while it is a minimum target, it is not necessarily the final destination if that plays out. Now, here's the thing. This one has not fired off just yet. In order for this to not fire off, we would absolutely need to see Bitcoin rally up before the end of this week, before at maximum Sunday, and preferably Friday, because CME is going to have it as well. We need to see Bitcoin rally up, I would say, back around 90,000 bucks before end of week. It's not impossible. I mean, it's very, very possible here for Bitcoin to do, obviously. But in order to avert that crisis, in order to avert that cross, which, generally does have some pretty nasty downside to follow through, yeah, we need to see a rally before end of week. I would estimate around 90,000 bucks, but of course, it's going to depend, wherever these moving averages open up for the next period, which we won't know until next week anyways. But just be aware that that might be in the background. And even then, once this fires off, we're still looking probably close to 3 months from that firing off to actually playing out. So if we were to fast forward, let's say until maybe middle of February, we'd be expecting that move to occur, or at least for it to get all the way down to the green 55 EMA here, which is in the very low 70s. Let's say, let's estimate it'll be somewhere around like 73, 74, 75,000 bucks if that does happen. Anyways, if that were to happen as well, keep in mind, while the 55 EMA is a target, it is it has not been the final destination in any one of these prior moves. So, if we were to see that traditional move occur, another 40% to the downside puts Bitcoin at low 40s. Again, I'm just going off of what history has shown here. This is a setup that has not fired off yet. Again, I repeat, for the lobotomized morons out there in the world who may or may not be listening, hopefully they're not listening, but this is a setup that has not fired off. I'm just anticipating what may come at the end of this week if Bitcoin basically does not move. If it doesn't move between now and then, that will be a very fucking ugly. Anyways, I am getting another call right now. One moment. Hello? Yeah, they're here right now. Everything's good. One moment, just one moment. Okay. Yep. All right. One moment, guys. I got to go yell at Elsa really quick. Elsa! Did you let them in? You need to go to the front gate. Okay, the next crisis has happened. More deliveries coming, and Elsa doesn't realize where the gate is. Very nice indeed. Worst relief rally ever. I mean, I still think that there could be a rally, in December. There certainly is a possibility for Bitcoin to get up into like the mid 90s. I still do think, but for right now, what? Hold on. All right, guys, I got to go downstairs. Elsa can't open a gate for some reason. Okay, stop. What do you mean you can't Okay, wow. Holy shit. I just sprinted like you've never seen before, like I've never seen before. So I'll tell you what happened. The evil bears came to our door and started fucking up everything. No, Elsa was trying to open up the gate for the furniture movers, and she couldn't figure out how to push the gate. Good job. Good fucking. It is a very heavy gate, to be honest. Anyways. Whew. There we go. Why aren't my meme coins going up anymore? Well, were they ever really going up? Anyways. All right. So, yes, where was I? Yes. Let's talk about some more nasty things. How about that? Thanks for your content during your daily life business. Yeah, man. I wish I had set this up a little bit better for today. I had the whole stream planned out. I was so excited, man. I was like, holy shit. This is going to be great. The whole content flows amazing, but not amazing today. Anyways, yeah. So on the topic of the next big thing that has happened, Bitcoin did cross the MACD on the monthly time frame to the downside for the first time in this cycle. The pivot now to cross the MACD and unfuck it back to the upside would require a Bitcoin closure at the end of December above 100 and almost 18,000 US dollars, which seems very far away right now. Just shooting it fucking straight, man. That's like close to 30,000 bucks. Possible, yes. Probable, maybe not. Anyways, great stream, more like this. Fair enough, man. I'm glad that people enjoy this. I'm breathing heavy right now, like a fucking whore in church. It's good, man. It's good. We're getting our VO2 maxes up while we're looking at some Bitcoin price action analysis. Anyways, yeah, with the monthly MACD crossing the downside, I just want to acknowledge here, again, not great signals for Bitcoin, especially with that pending 3-week signal, which potentially could come at the end of this week. Not fucking good. Anyways, on top of this, we do see that the monthly that the monthly stochastic momentum oscillator is going to have bearish divergence here, and is also continuing. Did the stream just shut out? Hold on. I'm seeing some weird comments now. Is it okay? Did it end? What end? Did what end? Do a reality show. Dear Lord, ma'am. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody should see that. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, so on the monthly time frame right here, 121, 250 is the pivot. This one's going to continue down. It's going to continue down very hard here. It's losing the critical zone on a month-over-month closing basis and on divergence as well. Again, there's too many signals at this point for me to ignore. The bias has to be on just general downside. Yes, there's going to be bounces. There might be a big bounce even to like mid 90s or something like that. But I don't like what the fuck I'm seeing, man. It's not good. On top of this, when we go over here to the monthly RSI, we can see the monthly RSI, which we pointed out at the beginning of November as having 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. So that's not fucking good. On top of that, I think the bi-monthly time frame, or maybe the quarterly time frame, the quarterly time frame also has bearish divergence playing out. The easy target for bearish divergence of 3 drives variety is going to be the yellow 21 EMA, and that's significantly lower. Now, that doesn't need to get hit this quarter. That could be 2026 Q1 or Q2 type thing. So, it might rise up to like mid 60s, which is kind of the area that I have myself earmarked for maybe a Bitcoin macro low. I do think it's kind of possible around there. Is this live crown back from the gate? I'm right here, baby. I'm right here. Praying to God, crossing my fingers that Elsa is directing the movers to the right location. Oh God, man. But yeah, there is your quarterly to come into the end of this year, and then also the bi-monthly time frame. This one's also problematic too, and I think that this one is a more relevant target in the short term. 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. Your yellow 21 EMA is just below $70,000. It's kind of hard not to see that get hit at some point. Now, again, does it need to get hit in December? No. Don't mishear me and think that I'm calling for this move to happen today. No, these are very, very high term timeframes. This might happen, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months out from now. I don't know. I imagine this one will get hit within the next 2 months or 4 months at most. But yeah, several things are agreeing with each other. We're also going to see the crown oscillator continue with a downside cross and play out this long-term regression. Again, I feel like I'm stretching myself to look for bullish hopium type things, but I'm just not finding them. If we go over to Bitcoin on the HPDR, I'm curious what it says here, because I actually haven't even looked. And this one is, okay, this one's starting to get in some kind of crazy areas that you just don't see that often. On the monthly, you don't really see Bitcoin deviate so much from even the 50% of historical returns range levels. We haven't even seen that happen once since 2022. My internet just said all snap. It literally says all snap and then goes to a blank page. Hopefully we're still good to go right now though. Anyways, yes. So my point here is one, it's in a crazy region. 2, it's a region that we have actually never seen during a bull market. When I scroll back here, during bear markets, yes, this region does get hit. In bull markets, we really don't expect anything below even the 50% of historic returns range low. So I do look at this as, again, a part of the greater whole in the overall picture and not fucking good. Doesn't necessarily imply Bitcoin's going to come all the way down here like today or tomorrow or this month even, but, perhaps in the future, next, few months, something like that. We're just getting more and more setups for the downside. But the question is, can Bitcoin bounce in between? Will there be a bounce in between? Is there likely to be a bounce in between? And personally, I still actually do think so. I still think Bitcoin is at some point going to bounce, hopefully into the mid 90s, maybe even deep 90s at some point. But that might be your sort of traditional bull trap. Yes, it's the word I'm looking for. The way that I'm kind of getting that from is at some point, I do expect a reconnect with the red 5 EMA in December and at latest January. And as of right now, that is at almost $97,000. So, it's very, very possible that we do get a bounce somewhere around there. Intra-month here and maybe at latest January, but at some point I would be expecting a bounce there with the overall bias that it likely will fail. Unfortunately, likely will fail if again we do see the 3-week time frame setup fire off over here. If that fires off, that is going to be kind of the final nail in the coffin, at least for me, that I think whatever rally we get, whether it be upper 80s, whether it be mid 90s, whether it even be upper 90s, is likely going to be or very, very likely going to be a failure, and that will not be fucking good, unfortunately. So yeah, man, a lot of things kind of building up in the background. A lot of them have been kind of on our watch list for the past, I feel like, month and a half to 2 months now since Bitcoin put in its high, and they are starting to fire off as of November's closure. So this, in my opinion, is problematic. Again, you can draw whatever conclusions that you want from this. I just want to show you the historical results from these indications, because they have been very consistent for Bitcoin. And the way that my rule works is not that you have to live within my own rule, but the way that I think is, until something has been objectively changed or negated or invalidated, it's we should be expecting the prior thing, and that also goes in alignment with the 4-year cycle. Personally, I hope the 4-year cycle is over. I wish it was, but if you believe that the 4-year cycle is still legitimate, October is the logical time to be looking for an all-time high for Bitcoin, at least for this cycle. So, we've gotten everything that you would have expected if 4-year cycles are still a thing. If you don't believe that 4-year cycles are still a thing, then, hopefully something else occurs. I know a lot of people are kind of waiting on the Fed to end QT in December and this and that, and maybe that happens, but is it necessarily going to immediately equal massive girthy green dildos for Bitcoin, or does Bitcoin correct more and then maybe try some upside long term? At any rate, I would still personally give Bitcoin a chance to bounce intra-week here, because until that 3-week setup completely fires off, maybe there's like one more point of hopium, another point of hopium. But yeah, Nova Spark says a lot of people are going to learn about what fear is like in the market. It's a good learning environment long term. I mean, for the people who are even left, because at this point, honestly, I really don't think most people are even in this market anymore. I saw more viewership, and my YouTube buddies saw more viewership, which is a really, really interesting metric to be looking at. And one of the unique things that I get as a content creator, it's one of the reasons why I actually do content creation, is because I get to see that in the background every fucking day. And generally viewership across all crypto channels has been downtrending since 2022, 2023. Just not that many people interested, man. So for the people who are sticking around, you're getting a fucking world-class education on what markets can do and what markets and how bad markets can get. But at the same time, it's like, unfortunately, most people ain't around. But I guess this is why the people who make the money are going to make the money, because they actually fucking pay attention. Anyways, on that topic, and because I completely forgot to mention earlier, we still got our Cyber Monday sale going on until the end of this week. The code is blacked in all capitals and the number 20. You can still get 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the teachable link in the description below with that code blacked20, blacked in all capitals and the number 20. That promo will run until the end of this week. Anyways, I'm going to get over here to the super chats. Elsa has valiantly saved most of them, I think. If we do miss yours, then definitely give me another ping on it. But I will start it off with Pisa. He's looking at XRP for our daily and weekly. Sure, man. I can bring this one up. Let's get rid of this setup right here. We need less charts right now so I can focus. We got XRP where? Wait, actually first let's go to, yes, this chart. Beautiful chart. Very, very nice chart. Very, very sophisticated, very classy, very lovely. Where is my XRP though? Also not lovely. Yeah, back down to $2 or so. I still think that these LARP lines are generally correct here. I do think you're going to revisit the lows from November. Was this November? Yeah. November lows very likely do get revisited, but because this has been such a nasty downtrend, I mean, this really does have a chance to break down. So while I am kind of anticipating another bounce attempt from about 180, just be aware, man, that any bounce that fails to reclaim that 230 high that you saw from last week, I mean, that's got to be a downside real breakdown indication. Looking at the weekly right here, again, I do think you're going to bounce off of last week's low at 180 or so, but be real fucking careful with that, man, because if it does break, it's gonna shoot down to like 1.25 or 1.5 very quickly. But I do think there's one more bounce left in it. It's just if if I'm wrong or later on when it inevitably does break, that's going to be a real fucking fast shot down to $1.25 or $1.50. So I'd just be really on edge for a move like that. Because when it does happen, it will be very quickly. What the hell is going on over there? Hearing like, what the fuck? All right, I need to close the door. Can you guys hear that? They're like drilling something in our living room. It's really fucking annoying. One moment, I'm gonna close the door right now. It actually sounds like a chainsaw. I should probably text Elson and be like, are you okay? I'm actually going to test her right now. Let's see what the hell's going on with her. Just like getting chopped up into pieces. Not very funny, but I do need to make sure, she's my wife after all. Anyways, okay, so there is XRP. If you want to go to the 4-hour time frame as you also requested, while I do think it's going to get back down to this low, I do think you're going to get another bounce temp from that low. Just does the bounce reclaim last week's high or not? If it doesn't, then you already know, man. You already know. Anyways, we got Great White Hype. He's looking at MicroStrategy on the daily and weekly. Been bearish on this one for a while. I think I'm probably going to continue to be bearish on it based off of what Bitcoin's doing, but let's see before we condemn it. Look, so last week we did say at some point down to the white 200 simple moving average. I think that this one's going to rip off the Band-Aid and head down there very soon. Should bounce. Almost everything gets at least a bounce tempt off the white 200 simple moving average on a weekly time frame on the first pass. Might take some time to occur, and at that point, I do think that you're probably in for another move. Maybe $100 higher to like 230, 240, maybe even 250. But it is a downturn. It is very, very ugly as of right now. Monthly time frame. We got the cross between the 5 and the 21, so there's a correction already. Yeah, I do think you're gonna fulfill the 200 simple and then bounce most likely. How high does bounce go? Let's keep an eye out for that. But I do think you'll at least get into like the low 200s, like 220 maybe, and perhaps even as much as like if things really get crazy, maybe like 280. But for right now, short term, some more downside, then a big bounce tempt, in the month or two out to follow that, and then pray to God that this thing like fucking rocket launches from there. Because if it doesn't, then I think you already know, sir. I think you already know. All right, let's see. Just checking in. Okay. I feel like things are quieting down now. This is better. This is much better. Okay, cool. Okay. Basha Miv, I see a super chat there, but I don't see any comments. So I'll have to wait for you to follow up on that. And then I see Chris Veli is looking at MSTZ. I'm guessing this is something resembling a MicroStrategy. What is this? An inverse MicroStrategy. Okay, so when this thing goes up, MicroStrategy goes down, and this is something that I'd actually want to be long on. Looking at this thing here, I do think at some point you're gonna get up to $20 or so. I mean, shit, at some point, probably even go a little bit higher than that too. But long term, it is a massive downtrend. So it's like, where's going to be the next lower high? It's going to be 20, 22, 24, I don't know. But somewhere in that pocket there is kind of where I'd be on guard. Until then, this thing is bullish. I do expect it to go a little bit higher. Is it going to reverse into like a real uptrend? That I don't think so, or at least that's not what I'd be looking at as of right now. But I think longs are protected on something like this, especially as long as you're above last week's low. That's a really good pivot on this one because that is your trending higher low right here. In other words, I do think you have some more upside on this thing, man. Rather short than Bitcoin. And to be honest with you, Chris Vela, I agree with that, man. If you want to be short Bitcoin, I think it's better to play something like this than to just straight up short Bitcoin because one, obviously, as you know, MicroStrategy is more volatile than Bitcoin. So that means when Bitcoin has a downside move, this thing is going to have an even greater downside move because it's also a 2x on top of that, on top of MicroStrategy's volatility already. So you're getting more than really 2x. And, being long this is easier on your account than being short, MicroStrategy or Bitcoin for that matter, just because the inherent leverage included in this thing. And then also longs just, they require less trading equity to hold rather than shorts. Generally at least. Anyways, all right. Steven Schickman's dog just shit on my yard. Hey, get off my lawn. Get off my fucking lawn, huh? I'm scrolling up, just making sure that I didn't miss anyone's super chat. All right. right. I think next is Lutfi Muradova, Miss Muradova. She's looking at ALCH, some more shitcoin action. I guess she hasn't learned yet that shitcoin's not going to be doing too great. But let's hold our breaths for a moment because maybe it is. Maybe it's amazing. Well, at least it's not as bad as it could be. I mean, shit, it's not down only yet. At some point, it very likely will be. But I mean, comparatively to what I would have expected, going to be holding up decently here. Do I think it's going to be bullish overall? I'd be telling you a lie, or at least that's not my opinion. I guess anything's possible. It's just I would not be holding my breath on this thing. If anything, I mean, this really does look like a local high in construction. You got an extremely small amount, but it is present there. Bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. This is not like, it's usually not a death sentence, but on something like this, I mean, you kind of got to look for any excuse to get bearish on it. But look, you got a really easy setup here. If I'm wrong and this thing is bullish, all you need to see for a breakout to be confirmed is a closure above the price action pivot here, which is 16.85. Let's just round up and say 17 cents above there. Great. This thing, should retest prior highs and, onwards and upwards from there. My personal opinion, as you might have already guessed, probably not going to happen. But hey, I can always be wrong in these things. That's why I give out the pivot points. On the other side, this one will be confirmed absolutely, obviously, and disastrously bearish if, and only if, you can trade back down below, what was it, last week's low? Was this last week's low? This was last week's low at 10 and a half cents or so. If you trade and close below there on a daily time frame, get ready for this thing to retest, all-time lows at some point. Maybe not from that exact moment, but in the month to follow that, and probably even lower time. But for right now, technically should give this one a bit of a break, because technically you do have higher lows actually, which nearly any shitcoin cannot attest to that. So you do have this kind of setup going on right here. But again, either which way, if you want to be bullish on this, must absolutely get a closure above 17 cents on a weekly time frame. See that? Big fucking girthy green dildos. Is everything all good?
Everything's fine, but I don't know how to close the gate.
You just push it in. But it's okay. I can take care of it later. It's not a big issue. Elsa's figuring out gates. Gates in America are very difficult, and that's okay. Sometimes we are gate challenged. It's not gonna. I can do it if you're confused, or I can show you how to do it a little bit later. Yeah. Anyways, we got Steven Schickman. Holy shit, he's still alive. Doggy is here, but I can't say that the doggy's still alive. Yep, all the way down to the exact, actually exceeding our level from last week. Wow. I mean, shit, man. Is this going to be the actual break right here? I'm personally a lot more inclined to think that it's going to bounce here again, Steven. But if I'm wrong and it breaks, it's going to be really fucking ugly and really fucking fast. It's going to head below 10 cents to follow that. At some point, that's probably likely to happen. It's just, is this the move? Is this the one that wants to trend? Well, possible. Let's go to a momentum chart and see what this one's doing. I guess it is possible here. You're in the heavy bearish control zone for monthly momentum, as long as you're below 21 cents. So need almost a 50x move from where you're at, or sorry, a 2x move from where you're at right now. Seems unlikely to me, but hey, possible, I guess. I don't know. Less likely. How do I put this nicely? I don't fucking know. It's bad, man. It's really, really bad. Look, the question in my opinion is this thing going to break down on this move, or is it going to give one more bounce and then break down? My personal opinion, based off of Bitcoin, based off of a lot of the other shitcoins, is maybe one more bounce after retesting last week's low. This thing's already at last week's low, though. So it is comparatively worse than most of the other things we've seen today. And if I'm going to the bi-weekly time frame, yeah, I do think at some point you're coming down to 10 cents and probably even below there. But is it on this current move? I really don't know, man. I think it's just a matter of time, though. I really do think it's just a matter of time. It's just, I really don't like being bearish on the test to the 200 simple, even if it has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, fuck. Yeah, it can break. All right, look, it can break. This actually might be the one that breaks it. I personally don't like getting bearish into these zones just because I've seen them bounce so many fucking times, like so many fucking times. And then when they actually do break, yeah, it's usually just like a letting the dam loose type of situation. So I don't know what to tell you, man. It's not looking good. I wouldn't expect this thing to like reverse back to all-time highs from here or anything like that, or at least anytime soon. I mean, should a demon get anywhere near its prior all-time high this cycle? So I think that's kind of a signal in and of itself now. We got Adam Kalane next. He's looking at Super. It's Elliot's shitcoin. Yeah, not looking too hot right here as well. Already bad. I mean, this one's been making new lows for a while. Again, Elliot's a good friend, but I'm always going to call a spade a spade. I'm always going to give you my unfiltered opinion on anything. I might not be right, but I'm always going to give you my unfiltered opinion, even if it's a good friend of mine. Look, man, I think this thing's coming down. I think that this thing will come back down to the 2023 lows at some point. But again, just like most of the other ones, it's like, do you get a bounce in between? Really wouldn't take too much to get a bounce here. I mean, shit, man. If it could just trade above last week's high, which admittedly is pretty fucking high from where it's at right now. That's like a 50% move almost now. Let's measure this one out. That's close to a 50% move. Oh my fucking God, things are so bad. If it can do that, if it could trade back above there, then yeah, I do think you got a big move up to like 45 to 50 cents. But look, again, I'm going to shoot you straight. I think it's a lot more likely to head back down to the 2023 lows at some point in the next couple months than it is to pop back up to like, 60 cents, for example, or even 50 cents, to be honest with you, man. I would hope it would do that just for, Elliot's sake. But yeah, man, don't like what it's doing here. I also see a monthly closure below the sort of last couple of years lows from 2023. I mean, this is just technically it is a breakdown already. So I don't like that, man. I really don't like that. Quarterly also atrocious here, like absolutely atrocious. Again, a lot more likely to retest all-time lows than it is to reverse from where it's at right now. Just personal opinion. Anyways, Steven's back. He's looking at doggy versus Bitcoin. I can assure you that if doggy versus the dollar is looking bad, this thing is going to be looking pretty fucking bad too. Yeah, man. Maybe you get a corrective move at some point in this month to like 170 or 173 Satoshis, but ultimately this thing is a downtrend that wants to continue, not to reverse. It wants to continue. You're a lot more likely to revisit the October lows than you are to revisit your September highs, for example. I mean, shit, let alone even getting back above like 200 Satoshis. Really bad, man. Really, really bad. Again, not you. You're a great person. Really, really nice person. This is a chart. Terrible fucking chart. Absolute dog shit chart. In fact, it's not even dog shit. It is a literal fucking rhino shit. It's a rhino dump chart. That rhino's dumping, and you can literally see the gigantic poops, the gigantic shits coming in on this chart. There's one massive shit right here. Here's another massive shit right here. Another massive dump right here. And then that rhino comes back and he starts loading them all up. Load me up, buttercup, with all of your gigantic fucking derps. Oh man, my doggy coins are going down. I'm surprised. Yes, my meme coins that literally have no value and state to have no value and have a powerful community seem to be going down like these giant fucking dumps. Amazing. And you know what? A nuke for that one as well. Not nuking the shitty ass chart, man. How many fucking doggy bulls have been impaled by the red dildo of destiny? Terrible and sad. Very terrible, very sad. And somehow, some way, people think this is a legitimate chart. It is very ugly. It is very bad. And it is very sad. And it makes me very sad. And it makes everyone very sad. Everyone's very sad right now, sir. Everyone's very sad. And I don't know what to do about it. What shall we do about this? Thank you for closing the gate. Now, on to the next one. Adam Kalane says, range for BNB. Oh, actually, BNB is going to be an interesting chart just because this one actually has been doing different things recently. So let's see. I haven't checked on this one in a while. Weekly and monthly. Okay. Well, it does look like a top as well. Yeah, not going to lie, man. It does look like a top here. Let's see. Do you have bearish divergence 1 and 2? So at some point, I do think you will get down to $700. Do you bounce before that? Maybe. I mean, again, bouncing off that 55 EMA another time is not like asking for too much. So maybe one more bounce off of like 800, but at some point, yeah, I do expect this thing to come down to $700. So whether it bounces or not, I don't have strong opinions on, or sorry, at least as high as it goes. I think maximum height on a bounce would be like 920. That's like full on bull hopium. What I feel a lot more confident on is you will see low 700s this month or January. Very, 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 very likely. Yeah, not good, man. Not good. Meta Varcel is shilling some random fucking bullshit shitcoin. So let's just look at it because I'm sure it's great, man. Because that's what legitimate projects do. It's his name on YouTube. His name on YouTube is Metaversal. He's asking about Metacoin, and it's got a million fucking characters in it. So I'm guessing it has to be this thing. So definitely unbiased. Definitely a strong post content to username ratio. And to be fair, if this actually is it, I don't know if it is or not. But if this is it, at least it's not as shitty as most shitcoins we've seen today. What? What's going on over there? Anyways, many calls going on right now. Elsa just had to leave the room. To be fair, actually not the worst chart for shitcoin, although I do want to hate it because, shilling is always annoying. But most shitcoins, it's just a matter of when. If not now, then when? What's that? Oh. Anyways. As far as the daily time frame goes here, hidden bearish divergence. So short term, you probably do have a local high. Probably does head back down to like 540, maybe even $5 even. But I'd be careful with shit like this. So in my experience, it's usually a bad signal when someone like probably from the team is coming onto a YouTube stream and trying to shill some like random shitter on fucking Solana. Like that was a game a couple years ago, that was a game about a year ago in 2024. It's not the best game anymore, unfortunately. I think that ship has sailed, but yeah. Anyways, good luck with that, sir. I hope it turns out well for you. KQN, it says GME, GameStop Daily Weekly. Yeah, let's check this one out. It's been a long time since we looked at this one. Let's go higher first and then finish lower. It's been in a weekly downtrend since when? Since 2024, or well, actually much longer than that, since 2021. So not a good sign. Below almost every major moving average except for the red 5 EMA. I got to be bearish on something like this, man. If it does try a bounce this month, maybe like 23 and a half, you might have already had that as well. It already got up to 23 this morning. I don't know. It might bounce a little bit more. It's definitely possible here, but I have to go with the trend, man. And this thing has switched into a bearish posturing for all major moving averages except for that red 5 EMA. So the second that you get back down below there, I'd be looking for this thing to trend back down and make new lows for the year. Yeah. I don't know. Where would I change my opinion on it? It's actually very simple where I change my opinion on it. It would be right here above the September high of $28. Actually, price action pivots is perfect on this one. Above there, I think that this thing would actually have a real reversal and you'd see a big sizable move into deep into the 30s, probably 40s and beyond. But yeah, I think that that's kind of hoping right now. I think that this thing is mostly down, sir. I think it's mostly down. All right, one moment. I see Asti is next. Just one moment, Asti. I need to take another sip of this water. You can't see me, but you will hear the sips. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right. Asti's looking at silver short term. Okay. I'm going to look at the actual silver, XAG USD. And short term to me on something like this means like a daily, honestly. But if you like really want to go short term, then maybe like a 4 hour. Overall bullish. Probably one of the only bullish charts we'll see today. What about gold? Gold is still bullish. Holy shit. It really is a bull market for gold. Look, at some point, I do think you might get a correction down to like low 50s, but overall, this thing's bullish, and this is a breakout. Like it might not even get that correction. If it does, great. If it doesn't, I mean, it's just up and to the right. Yeah, 53 or 54 bucks would be a corrective target if it wants to, but it's not even doing that. This is a continuation. This is a breakout. It's opening in December with an actual breakout. It closed on new all-time highs. There's nothing bearish about this. Now, if you're very short term, if you're on a 4 hour time frame, then kind of gets difficult to play over here, but the trend is your friend, so I'd just be looking for upside, There is a technical formation here. We do have an ascending triangle, so there is an implied target to be making, which may or may not be relevant to you. I don't know how long this will take, but we are on a 4 hour time frame here, so maybe not that long, but something like this. Let's see how high it is. Yeah, about 61 bucks. So that is a technical target in the, I guess, more near term. But overall, yeah, very, very good. It is what it is. It is what it is. Shit, I should have bought some fucking silver, huh? Anyways, John T says, Zora, if price breaks, drop to where? Bounce? I don't know. Is this a Krypton or is it a real stock? It seems to be a Krypton. I guess we got a dirt base for this one. Sir, it's already broken. Hold on. Let's actually go to the daily. Okay, so I think you're probably talking about like the greater formation here. Maybe best seen on a weekly. Look, I'll give you... okay, I will give you both scenarios, but I feel obliged to tell you that this thing is very likely going to break, man. You have your traditional shitcoin chart of destiny here, where you get your first major rally, followed by a second but lower rally, and then it's typically down only from there, with only pity bounces along the way. So if you're going to get a real breakdown, you need to see a weekly closure below the September low, which was 4 cents, about 4 cents. Below there, you're going to see this thing just like lose 50%, maybe more, maybe just back down to all-time lows, which at some point, given enough time, that is extremely likely to happen, in my opinion. Now, if you do get a bounce off this 4 cent level again, how high can it go? So it makes these things difficult because, you know, they can bounce like pretty aggressively sometimes, but I would say highly likely bounce target if it wants to bounce, which I don't even think it's going to do that. But again, you're just giving me the hypothetical, so I'm just going to go with that. Again, I am not saying this is likely to happen, but if it were, 5.25 cents would be a highly likely area, and then if things get really crazy, I'd say 6.5 to 7 cents. Again, I don't think that's happening. I think that this thing is initiating its down-only destiny. The monthly looks very clear to me. This does not want to go up; it wants to go down. I feel remiss even to even mention a 6 cent potential bounce, because it's in my opinion very, 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 very unlikely. Yeah, not fucking good, man. Steve Calais, 6969, great numbers right there. He's looking at Lennar. I'm guessing this is a stonk. Let's see. Yeah, it is. Nice. You can almost tell by the names. You can almost tell by the names. It's crazy. Anyways, and you can definitely tell by the charts. I'll tell you that. You can definitely tell the difference between a shitcoin and a stock by looking at the charts almost every fucking time. Okay, so if we are... Oh, you're on a daily and weekly. Hold on. Let's go down here. I do think that this is a pretty easy trade to manage here, or an investment to manage, because you got a very obvious invalidation and inflection point, which is the November 17th low at 112. Yeah, just above 112. As long as you're above there, I'm bullish on this thing, and I'm looking for it to pop back up towards 135 to 140-ish region, somewhere around the top side of the range here. I guess more like 140. Sorry, more like 140 to 145. And then your greater range is something like this. So do I think it's actually going to pop up here? I do think it's going to pop up here. Is it going to break out on that move? That I don't really know. You know, because a lot of the time these things will remain range bound and do something like this for a while. But this very likely is a setup long term for a mega breakout to the upside, because this thing just has a long term history of going up only. So I'm always going to bet on up only from there. It's just, is it on this current move, or does it range more and then go? I don't know. And thank God that's not my problem. But yeah, in the short term, I do think that this thing does have more upside, and it's a very easy hold here as long as it's above basically that mid-November low. And if it does lose that mid-November low, I'm just looking for it to come back down to the bottom side of the range at from this past April at 102 or so. But again, a lot more likely to test the top side here than it is to come back down first. So yeah, ultimately, I do think you are range bound personally, but long-term, the bias would be on an upside breakout. Yeah, overall, really, really good chart. Just can take some time. This is a monthly chart after all. We got Easy Peasy next. He's looking at Rocket Lab. Oh, I thought that was Rollbit. I remember Rollbit. Does anyone remember Rollbit? That was a big thing, like not that long ago, it feels like. Rocket Lab, okay. This is an actual stock, so probably very offensive to even put a Krypton in the conversation with this thing. But that's okay, because this thing will very likely come down a lot. In the short term, does it try a bounce towards 44.5? I actually do think you're more than likely to try a bounce to, you know, sometime in December to that number, 45, maybe even $50. Something like this. It might retest, you know, November low first and then bounce. Might just bounce from here, but either which way, I don't think that you're going to be making significantly lower lows than the 200 simple as of this moment, below 37.5 before having a decent bounce. However, this is a top for a while. You do have some bearish divergence here. So ultimately, after a bounce plays out, I'd be looking for this thing to come down. Maybe it's December, maybe it's January, maybe it's February. I don't fucking know when, but at some point, very, very strong likelihood of seeing $30 or $31, like very low $30 numbers is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, man. All right, a little bit more agua for me. Okay. Biff the Bear, what's up, man? Tether dominance, how high we going? Is Uptober canceled? Uptober was unfortunately not on the calendar this year. But it is what it is, shit happens, I suppose. But yeah, looking at Tether dominance, I think I have it on my list here. Yeah, I still do. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So this is also really problematic too. If we were going to see a lower high on Tether dominance, we would have seen it at 570 or so. The second that it started to exceed there, especially when it started to exceed the 200 simple, it's like, this is a breakout. This is a reversal. Again, just another nail in the coffin for this cycle, man. Do I think it's going to retest your high from August of 2024? Probably yes. Maybe even a little bit higher. But it is admittedly one massive range. There's your range high. Here's your range low. So I do think you're going to reach that range high, which is, again, the highs from August of 2024 at about 690%. At that point, probably will pull back a little bit. So that would align with a decent bounce on Bitcoin, I suspect. Maybe that's going to be a bull trap bounce, but yeah. But yes, I also will acknowledge that, yeah, this is a reversal. This is a reversal. It's just head to the top side of the range, pop back down, put in a higher low, and then perhaps break out. This thing does have a long-term uptrend, but obviously operates a little bit differently than like a traditional asset. It is a Tether dominance chart, right? Anyways, we got Konsky next. He's looking at Tron, daily, weekly. Gotcha, man. DRXUSD. Haven't looked at this one in a while, but it has this cycle done a lot of different things. Is it going to do something different at the very end? Maybe not, but let's see. This one, kind of similar to the last one. It's like, I do think that you could be in for a bounce here to 29 cents is not asked for too much. Maybe if things get really crazy, like 31 cents. Yeah, I do think you're more likely to bounce here from 27 cents. But long term, you actually don't have bearish divergence, maybe on a weekly. Let's see. You definitely do here. The next target to the downside would be at around 24 cents. So it's like short-term bounce, give it a chance to bounce. I mean, shit, man, maybe if it does. Okay, this is going to sound fucking crazy. Tron is actually in a better technical position than most things we've seen today. It sounds very bizarre to say that, but yeah, it is true. I need to give a reversal point for just continuation of new highs because, well, when I look at it daily, yeah, this is not fucking good. Look, if it can reclaim 32.5 cents on a bounce, yeah, I would actually be bullish on this thing, looking for new highs. I know it sounds fucking crazy. That is a big ask. I mean, it's very, very far away from current price action for sure, but I do feel like I need to go over a reversal point there just because this thing actually is kind of different than most other things. But if I'm giving you my opinion, again, in alignment with the rest of the market, I do think you're in for a short-term bounce, maybe not all the way to 35, but 29.5, maybe even 30 cents. But I actually would be looking for downside after that back down to the yellow 21 EMA, which is about 23, 24 cents. I think you're a little more likely to come back down there, just play with the rest of the market. But hey, like I said, if this thing reclaims this high right here, sorry, it's about 33 cents, not 35 cents, 33 cents. I'd have to be bullish. In the short term, I do think you're going to retest your lows, though. The November lows first, then try a bounce. If that bounce brings you back above 32.5, 33, I'd be bullish. But assuming that bounce tops out anywhere below 32, I would be bearish, looking for 24 to 23 cents getting hit. Something like that, man. And in the very, very short term, I do think you officially retest last week's low. Anyways, Rav Key says STRK daily, weekly. This is one of MicroStrategy's offerings, I believe. Yeah, these are 8% perpetual dividend, which I think also gives you equity if MicroStrategy rallies to like $1,000, but that's not a conversation for today or tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't think that's happening anytime soon, maybe even ever, but who knows? Anyways, as far as STRK goes, I mean, look, if you're buying this, man, you're not really buying this for the chart. You're buying this for the dividend, I think. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is a bullish chart, man. And you will lose equity on this. Okay, I shouldn't say you will lose equity. You're very likely going to lose equity if you hold this. Ha ha ha. Anyways, yeah, daily time frame does have hidden bearish divergence here. So in the short term, I do think you're going to come back down somewhere around, 76, 75, 74, something like that. This thing's just been straight down since the highs. I wouldn't even call a reversal or even consider a reversal as long as you're above $100. So basically, I'm bearish as long as you're below $100, and even in the short term, I think you're coming down more. Downtober, fucktember, and remember. Okay, but what about remember? Oh, downtober. It's fucktember, downtober, remember, and then what's December? Rectember. I don't know. Doesn't sound very good. Sui for Brillo. Sure, man. We can look at Sui. Let's see, where is my Sui? Where's my chop Sui? 131. Crazy idea, but it apparently is continuing down in amazing fashion. So I want to say two things are simultaneously true here. At some point, I do think very strongly you will get back down to your August 2024 low at like 75 to 80 cents. I feel very strongly about that. Now, I do also believe before that gets hit, there may very well be a bounce at some point, maximum about $2 or maybe slightly above $2, but somewhere around $2. And that should be a rejection. That should be a failure. But yeah, this thing's topped out for a long time, man. We've been bearish on this thing for a long time. I'm going to continue to be bearish on it. It's just judging kind of when the next pity bounce is. Does it happen from here? Does it happen from a little bit lower? I don't know. I do think you will get a pity bounce at some point in this month, maybe latest January, but at some point as well, I do very strongly believe you will be back down around this low from August of 2024 at 70, 80 cents. It's like, do you want to get cute playing a bounce, which could be a pretty decent bounce, or do you want to go with the high probability move? I personally wouldn't play a bounce, but if I saw a bounce, I'd be circling like a fucking shark to potentially get a short position to ride that move lower. That's just how I would look at it personally. But again, that's, that is inevitably up to you, of course. I mean, Stark, not strategy. Okay. The ticker is the same. Well, that's annoying. Oh, you mean, no, the ticker's not the same. There's just some random shitcoin, man. All right, well, fair enough. We can look at this. Just as bad. I think I'd rather hold the other one, but this one's actually worse. Believe it or not, your high from November is probably gonna be your high for a very, 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 very long time. Yeah, this is a down only chart, man. I think it might even deserve some good old fucking derp action right here. Not you, sir. You're probably just asking a very, very intuitive question, but this is a chart. It's a fucking derp regarded chart, let's say. Yeah, very fucking bad. I think we are heading towards new lows, more lows, more new lows, more lows, new lows, good, more new lows. The truth says, I think Chinese people just said TonCon is boring. Let's do Tron. What? Let's see. Yeah, let's do some forex. We got Swiss franc versus Japanese yen. Not a pair that I think I've looked at. I don't think I've ever looked at this pair. Let's see what it looks like. Let's go to a monthly, seeing as we just got new monthlies. Okay, so Swiss franc has been bullish against the yen since forever, since the dawn of time, essentially. I think you might have a pullback in this month to like 191, 192, but overall, I have to be bullish on this because it's a bullish chart. Quarterly is bullish as fuck as well. What's up? Hey man, there are no upside targets on Meta, sir. If it's not bullish, it can't have an upside target. It's a down only chart, man. It's a down only chart. It's like asking. Let's find a shitty chart. It's like asking, what are my upside targets on Fartcoin? Well, sir, it's not going up. I mean, you might bounce. You might even have a big bounce, but is generally going to be going down. You know, maybe it bounces to like 40 cents, you know, 45 cents. Possible for sure. But is that an upside target, or is that just like a pity bounce? If I'm looking at Meta, what would a similar thing be? Metaversal. Oh god. Look, man, I'm gonna shoot you straight. I don't know what fucking jungle juice you've been drinking with this shit, but it's probably not gonna be good. Meta USD. Let's see. Meta DAO, Meta Solana. I don't even really know which one it is, to be honest with you. It's very difficult to say. If it can actually close above $7, then I do think you'd be in for a big move towards $10. It's like more than a 30% move. Do I think that's going to happen? Personally, no. But that'd be the only sort of upside target that I'd be talking about. But it's contingent upon this thing closing above $7 first. I mean, look, man, when it comes to shitcoins, you should be generally just assuming downside until proven otherwise. It's not the time of the market cycle for shitcoins to generally be going up. CLSK, sure, man. Clean Spark. I've seen this one so many times, but I still don't have a mental. Oh yes, it's this one. I always remember it once we go to it, but I don't remember it priorly. It's the one that's stuck in a major range. Yeah, I still think something like this, man. I still think something like this. Short term, I think you come back down, maybe back down to like 11 and a quarter, but I don't think you're breaking down. I think it's just sideways for a while. I think it's sideways for a while. If we're looking at the monthly, yeah, I think you're generally going to be going sideways for a while. I mean, I could get bullish on this thing if you do close above the upper range, which is going to be about what? I mean, that's $23.5, very far away right now. You're in the middle of the range. To me, this is just going to be sideways and boring as hell for a long time. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking for a breakout anytime soon, nor a breakdown. You know, I think you're just gonna be hitting both sides of the ranges here and boring the ever living shit out of you. There is some hidden bullish evidence in the short term, so you know maybe, maybe the ones already played out did have a pretty big move last week. It went from 10 to 15, so it's 50% move. Look, long term, I think it actually will break out to the upside, but that might take many months. So very short term, does it come back down and then try bounce? Probably. Does it head up to the range highs? Probably. Does it reject from the range highs? Probably. Does it come back down to the middle of the range after that? Probably. Maybe it breaks out after that one, but I just think you're waiting for a while here. When isn't the live weird? Oh yes, it always is, sir. It always is. It always is, sir. Japanese yen becoming a shitcoin long term. I don't know. Maybe it always was. Let's see what the dollar yen looks like. Yeah, I think I don't know. Dollar was losing versus the yen until about 1995. And from there, kind of gaining. Not really, though. Kind of just spinning its wheels, it feels like. But yeah. Sir, how's the table? It's really pretty. Okay, great. All right, cool. Yeah, it appears that Bitcoin's not the hedge for when the market turns around. That is a surprise, unfortunately. ARRR, daily weekly. Privacy coin. Oh, amazing. What a privacy coin. Oh, great. I can't wait for our privacy coin. Pirate chain. Yes, indeed. Where's my pirate chains? Amazing. It's so private you can barely fucking see it on the chart. Uncredible. Outstanding. Out fucking standing. Even better than my fucking internet connection. Yeah, I don't know about this, man. American 3333 says, Crown! Thoughts on a Bitcoin high or low or a double bottom at 80,000-ish? Spring bounce bull trap ranges for both scenarios. Okay, let's go to Bitcoin. And let's see. So you're anticipating, okay, double bottom at 80,000-ish. So basically November lows. Yeah, I think that you probably try for another bounce around here. I mean, if it heads lower, then you're looking at 75, but somewhere in that pocket between 80 to 75, I think you are going to get a bounce. Then bull trap to 100. That'd be a pretty fucking epic bounce, man. So let's just draw this out. So it bounce all the way up here. Not out of the question. I mean, if we draw a fib, then that's probably around the 50% retracement level. So possible, yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know the time frame on that. It might be like very long, as you're kind of anticipating. You're looking at like spring. Maybe, yeah, possible. That is such an amazing idea. The truth, that is such an amazing idea. I will actually do that after this stream. Let's see, we got Darrell. He's looking at Hood stock weekly month. Weekly monthly. Gotcha, man. Hood. Yes, the Hood. Yeah, definitely not a crypto because it is going up. This one, I do think you are going to come down in the short term, but I'm not necessarily bearish on it. So let's draw this out a little bit. So in the short term, I didn't even ask about it, but I feel like it's important to state, you do have hidden bearish divergence. And so I actually do think you come back down to like low 100s, but that's not necessarily bearish. This thing is actually okay, in my opinion, as long as you're above, 90 or 91 long term, which it sounds like you are long term. No, more like 100, not 90, but more like 100. Below 100, I do think you have a big move down to 90 because that is more than a 10% move. But for right now, short term downside, give it another chance to bounce. I think you're in a sideways consolidation for a while though. Yeah. If you do lose 100, though, I'd switch around to being bearish. But until then, I'd actually anticipate this next move to the downside to be a higher low. Maybe around like 110-ish. 110 on the upper end, maybe like 107, 108 on the lower end, something like that, man. Aaron says, Crown, I think you missed my super chat. I think I did, dude. One moment. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Yeah, if it wasn't Aaron, if it wasn't the beginning, unfortunately we can't pull it back. If you could just post it again, that's the best way. So I'm actually at the bottom of the chats right now. So just post a ticker that you were looking at, Aaron, and I'll get it up on the board. I see Mike is next. He says, I live in Florida and am a U.S. citizen. What is the exchange you recommend to use when you can do everything you'd want to do? I plan to sign up for your Trading Bible course this week. Awesome, man. Okay, so if you're a U.S. citizen, you have a couple of options. If you want to trade on leverage, which I think is where most people generally want to go to, and probably not right for everyone, but that is where most people do want to go to, then the Blofin link in the description below is going to be your best bet. Either that one or BitUnex. You will need to use a VPN, but you will be able to use it as an American. They don't ask for like ID or nothing like that. And from what I understand, it's okay for Americans to use. At least that's what their team has told me. If that's not the case, then that's their fucking legal issue, not mine. And of course, nothing would happen to you anyways. They would just close your account. But I haven't seen any issues like that. I haven't had any issues like that myself. So I can say from personal experience, Blofin is pretty solid. But you will need to use a VPN. And from there, yeah, you can do that as an American in America. Just use a VPN. Of course, if you do not want to use a VPN and you just want to spot trade, I would probably gravitate towards, and I know some people will hate this, but I would honestly gravitate towards doing things either on Coinbase or in traditional markets with one of the ETFs like IBIT. So if you want to do it like the most legit way, I would actually trade IBIT if you just wanted to trade spot. If you wanted to, be a little more in the crypto sphere, then maybe Coinbase where you're actually like holding your own coins. So that's going to be the differential there is that if you are a hardcore Bitcoin believer and you want to hold your own keys and hold your own coins, then obviously you need to go to exchange. So Gemini or Coinbase can be okay in that regard. Many people have a lot of issues with them, but they have stood the test of time and generally they're okay. But if you don't care about any of that, then trading IBIT I think is completely fine, and that's going to be the most legitimate because it is on traditional markets, and you're not going to have any issues there at all with being allowed to trade there or not. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. I'm waiting for Mr. Aaron. Where's Aaron? Aaron, post your damn thing. Post your damn thing, sir. I'm waiting for you. But yeah, man, I'm really happy to see some of the feedback from the Trading Bible. I do understand that the Trading Bible is overwhelming. It's actually intended to be overwhelming. I'm just shoving everything content-wise, educational-wise into that program. You don't have to watch all of it. You don't have to read all of it. It includes stuff that you might not be interested in, like options. Now personally, I love options. I think options are in my opinion, the desired way to trade. But I understand that that's not going to be for everyone. So, that's going to be like 30 to 40 hours of the program. So if you're not interested in that, you don't have to go through that section. If you're not interested in classical technical analysis, for example, you don't need to go through that section either. Or if you're not interested in quantitative analysis and trading, you don't need to go through that section. But I would say if you want to get in the trading Bible and you don't want to overwhelm yourself, just pick out your main focus, your main area of study, and get really, really good with that. And then if you want to move on later, then that content's there for you. But you don't need to fucking binge watch it all at once, because it's not going to help you to like just learn everything all at once if you're starting from scratch. It's too much. Like focus one of the sections first, then when you feel like you want to move on. You don't even need to move on. Mastering one is going to be good enough for just about anyone, to be honest with you. You really only need to be a master of one, whether it be classical TA, whether it be quantitative analysis, whether it be options trading, these sort of things. Or even long-term investing, all these sort of things. You really only need one of them, and you just need to get really fucking good with it. Anyways, easy peasy, I will get to Aaron first, and then we'll do easy please. Okay, Aaron says, Crown, so my question was, what should happen on tether dominance for you to say it's topping out? There's a chance for daily divergence, but assume, yeah. So when the weekly looks like that and the monthly looks like that, the daily divergence doesn't mean anything other than just a pullback into the former trend. So now I'm gonna run with your assumption here, Aaron, and I'm just gonna go over what would confirm a top out. I'm not saying that it is. I don't think that it is, but just like as a thought experiment, what would have to happen in order for me to look at this and say, wait a second, this is a fake out and this is coming back down? It's actually pretty simple here. Just need to come back down and close below about 580, wherever the 200 simple is on the weekly time frame here, which is more or less last week's low. So if you see that, then yeah, I think that this could be a real like rug pull, and this will come down significantly. It would be a reversal, but I really don't think that's happening, man. All higher term time frames on this thing are bullish, and if you do get a daily pullback, which there's not even divergence here, to be honest with you, man. Unless you're looking at this point and this point, but you're not realizing that this point right here is not a confirmed local high. This was a confirmed local high, so this can continue without any sort of divergence being activated. It's kind of my point that I'm trying to make. So yeah, what's up, Peter? I see you over there, man. How's everything going? Yeah, he likes his T-ball mobile internet with matzo ball soup. Fair enough. Okay, all right. We have some strange comments going on here. Anyways. Is there another Colo kid here? Do you mean Colorado? Anyways, you think it's still safe to eat my Thanksgiving leftovers? I don't know, man. If it's pulled pork that was smoked, I would eat that shit any day of the week, any fucking day of the week. My brother-in-law's brother, I think. Yeah, brother-in-law's brother made a fucking bucket of smoked pulled pork. Holy shit, dude. It was unbelievable. It was unfucking believably good. God, man, so fucking good. Anyways, easy please is looking at Intel. Full disclosure, I do hold Intel myself, so I am biased on this one, or presumably so. But looking at it, Intel's a really easy call here, because if you come back down below last month's low, it's bearish. It's a lower high confirmed, and has to come, and at that point have to be bearish for a move back down to the mid or low 20s. Was this a popcorn rally right here? It's very possible. I mean, this was, the government buying Intel. It's not necessarily like the best sign. And where exactly was last month's low? That was 32.89. Yeah, 32.89. 32.89. So below 32.89, especially on a weekly closing basis, I look at this confirmed lower high, which means downtrend is still intact, which means we have hidden bearish divergence here, which means have to be biased towards a big move down into the mid 20s, maybe even low 20s. Until that happens, I think that there's some hopium. Just need to see a weekly close of about 42.5, and I'd be looking for this thing to explode up to $50. Yeah, when I look at the price action pivots indicator, it's kind of selling off on all these tests of the trendline extensions. Again, it's another example here. The price action pivots indicator is very similar to the to the historical price action resistance indicator. On the first test into any one of these lines, you almost always get an intrabar scalpable move. Almost always, not every fucking time, but almost always. So again, for the people who are looking for those scalping tools, who want to be a little more in and out relatively quickly, it's completely fine. I mean, It's not my preferred way of trading right now, but I'll do it every once in a while. You know, I've seen it so many fucking times at this point, man. I've seen it so many fucking times. Anyways, let's see. Let me just scroll down here. I got Crypto Wrecked. Crypto Wrecked says Pippin. What is going on? Oh, God. Are we already at 11? Oh, my God. All right. We'll need to shut this thing off somewhat soonish. Crypto Wrecked is looking at Pippin coin. God. Scotty, why are you doing this to me, man? Why are you doing this to me, Mr. Scotty? Holy shit, Scotty is rallying. All right. We got a shitcoin that's rallying. We got a shitcoin on the loose. Shitcoin police need to get over there and fucking lock him up real fast. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Watching too much Cops recently. I've been watching the older episodes of Cops. If you didn't know, there's like almost 40 seasons of Cops. It goes back to like the 80s almost. It's fucking insane. And it's actually really, really good. It's amazing. And I found out about this new one called Live PD. Oh man, Live PD is really fucking good too. Like really, really good. Anyways, yes. So Pippin on the 4 hour daily. So I mean, again, I got to respect this thing just because it is having a rally with when most other things aren't. But you know, when you are asking for my opinion on this thing, do I really think it's going to run away into just a full on fucking all time high push, shit like that? Probably not, man. But 4 hours still okay. I'd be using this morning's low at 13 cents as a nice pivot, meaning that I'm bullish as long as you're above 13 cents. If it loses 13 cents, I switch around real fucking fast on this thing, looking for a move down to 10 cents, which is a big move. I mean, it's more than it's like a 30% move almost. You know, you do have good reason to believe that the high of the rally has already been had this morning because it has tested the prior closing highest price from 2025. So, you know, this is a good place for a pullback. And yeah, if it does take out that this morning's low, I do think you will see a sizable downside move. I don't think that move happens today, but maybe later this week. Because personally, on something like this, man, I do think it's very likely going to be a popcorn rally. You know, pop it up and then back down. Ugly, man. But just kind of anticipating the general sort of shitcoin trajectory. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, man. If I'm wrong, then I don't know. You'll probably have to hate me because I guess at that point it's going to explode towards, you know, 20, 25, 30 cents, whatever the fuck it is. I feel like I need to sneeze. There really are almost 40 seasons of Cops, but now you have to buy it on a streaming service or something like that. And of course I'm going to do that. It's great, man. It's great. It's great. It's great. Let's see. Don't wrench me. What does that even mean? Cores monthly, weekly. Sure. Yeah, man. It's all good. The truth. It's all good, man. I'm just fucking around. I'm just fucking around, as you know. Had a little bit of a late start this morning, so I feel like I'm still getting my own brain underneath me. But yeah, looking at cores, I do think that you have a swing high in here. It is, no, it's not on bearish stubbornness, but maybe the weekly is. Okay, actually, you know, to be honest on this one, I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure. I'm really not so sure on this one, man. I'm really not so sure on this one. I feel like a healthy amount of I don't know is the proper answer. I know that's not what you want to hear, but I don't know. I don't know. I can see it doing two things equally as valid. This is what I see the range as, between 18 and a half to like $13 on the downside. I do think you will test the downside of it, just given what the rest of the market's doing, but I'm not getting like super objectively bearish signals that I'd expect to see on this thing. You will have them below about 12 and a half, but until then, I'm not even getting targets down there just yet. So I really don't know, man. I really don't know on this one. Kind of, yeah, it's fine. It can fall. The internet has fallen. The internet has fallen indeed. Quarterly looks kind of ugly to me. It's a little bit early to judge it though. Bi-monthly looks kind of ugly to me. We still got another month though, so a lot of things can happen. I really don't know on this one, man. I'm stumped. If I had to make a call in the short term, the only thing I'd feel like somewhat comfortable is coming back down here. But I think you're also going to bounce from this number again. You know, the low from last week. Yeah, other than that, I really don't know, man. I'm sorry, but I don't want to just be fucking, you know, blowing smoke. Anyways, Miguel Escobar says, Crown, what will be the areas of interest for Bitcoin after hitting your target of 83 and the MACD turning to the downside? Well, the thing is that there's probably going to be a bounce at some point. So if you're talking about like long-term downside targets, just understand this is not coming anytime soon, or at least I would hope not anytime soon. But for Bitcoin, the next logical area for Bitcoin would be about 63,000 bucks. But I think it's very likely to get a bounce first. So whether Bitcoin bounces, from 83 or whether it's like 80 even, or maybe it even gets like a wick down to test the official low from April of this year, I do think that this is another bouncy region. I don't think it's going to be like straight down like this. I mean, if it is, then I'm just wrong. But, I think that this area right here is generally going to be another bouncy region, and Bitcoin doesn't have the momentum right now to plunge through at the moment. It's probably going to get another bounce and then plunge through, because every fucking bear market needs a bull trap to start it off. I mean, that's how bear markets really emerge. You get a major bull trap on a lower high when everyone gets super excited on a move, something like this. Imagine Bitcoin bounces from 80,000 all the way up to, 95 or 100,000. That's going to be really exciting, man. That's going to be super exciting. But that'd be a great place for a lower high. And then, after that, where would I generally be looking for? Low 60s. Be the next like obvious area. And to be fair, there's not a great indication things necessarily stop there, but that's like in my opinion, like a super high quality area to be looking for. So here's what I would be. So if I'm trading this, which I will, if that move happens, I would love to see that bounce into the mid or maybe even deep 90s, because at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go sell some, I'm going to go sell some calls and buy back my short puts right now. Because right now my puts are still in profit. My puts are still looking pretty good. But I'd rather give myself a little bit room to breathe by buying some of those puts back once they're in big profit, and then also, of course, selling some calls, maybe the $100,000 strike, but that's still far away right now. I questioned myself last week, should I have done that on the tick to 92,000 bucks? I was looking at it on video last week. I didn't do it because I still think there might be another bounce back around there. And I it's really bad to prematurely front run those positions, at least in my opinion. But as of right now, I'd still be holding this. So yeah. Anyways, that's my plan if it bounces up there. If it is, it's going to go to negative 20 RSI. Yeah, something like that, man. I mean, for fuck's sake. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't think it has the momentum to really break fully down here. I think at worst, you'll get a test down to like April lows and then bounce. But going straight from here to like 60, it just seems like too much of a move all at once. So yeah. Anyways, Real motherfucking G's. I don't have XMR on my list. Let's bring it up. Okay, boom and boom. All right. XMR pulling back to open up the new month. I do think you might pull back a little bit more towards 370, reconnect with that red 5 EMA on the monthly time frame. Should be a bounce there as well, though. Should be a bounce. So short-term pullback. Pray for a big bounce there, though. I still think higher term timeframes look good here compared to most other shitcoins, especially. But I don't know, man. Do you think we're going to have a situation where Bitcoin generally is down and this thing's generally up? It usually doesn't happen that way. So I don't feel great about, anticipating something like that. But yeah, I think that this corrective move continues a little bit lower first, then you get a bounce, and hopefully that bounce brings new all-time highs, because at that point you got a real breakout. But if you're just on a daily, so that you're on much lower term time frames than what I'm looking at, I do think your next move is to the downside and is back down to like 360 to 370. And that would still be a higher low, to be fair. So it's not like anything major or like a major issue as of right now. Yeah, and you do have bearish divergence on the daily. So yeah, I do think that you will get that move down to 360 or 370 first, if you're just on the daily. So yeah. All right, cool. Hey, all good, Metaversal. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the understanding. I'm not trying to shit on, projects too hard. It's just what I've seen over the years, man. Most of these things, they generally fail, unfortunately. I just get a little bit fearful, because I understand how like convincing the sales pitch and the white papers for these, marketing projects can really be. Because when I first came into the crypto market, like I definitely got carried away with that shit. But I learned my lesson really, really quickly that, hey, this stuff is, generally not very valuable. And, if you're going to trade it, sure. But if you're if you're looking to hold it for a long time, then the odds are overwhelmingly against you, unfortunately. So yeah. Anyways, we got Great White Hype. He's looking at Tesla. Tesla, another one that I do hold. So full disclosure here. Let's see. Well, these LARP lines are not really relevant. Well, I guess they already played out. So, all right, let's go over just what's going on right now. I do want to go to the monthly. I know you didn't ask about it, but I just want to see. So overall good. You got a really easy pivot point for being bearish, which is last month's low, which is 382. Meaning that if you do trade below 382, I'm looking for a big correction down to 330. But until then, I'd actually be bullish. Yeah, I'd actually be bullish. So if you do fail last month's low, okay, yeah, I'll be bearish. But until then, man, I'm bullish on this thing. You're going to see some ebbs and flows. You're going to see a pullback. Could easily pull back in the short term right here. But that's even $400, another higher low. Got to respect the good charts because this thing is still bullish long term, in my opinion. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. But again, below November's lows, I reserve the right to change my fucking opinion on this thing because it's going to come down and going to come down hard, in my opinion, if that happens. John T 9058 says, if Bitcoin goes to 82 or even $75,000, what's a good dip price for Ethereum? Okay, so we're making a correlation here. So the assumption is Bitcoin comes down to like 82 or 75, somewhere in that pocket. What would Ethereum's anticipated price be? I would imagine it'd be like somewhere around 22 to 25. 22 to 2,500, something like that. Yeah, kind of hard to do, but yeah, I think something like that, man. Something like that. It is hard to do though, because Ethereum does like to just fucking absolutely lose the floor when things actually do. We know when shit hits the fan. But I would guesstimate 22 to 25, 22 to 2,500. That is. What about the WMACD print on Tesla? WMACD? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean just like a MACD cross the upside, or? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. I don't see any W on the MACD, or I don't even know like about a W on the MACD, to be honest with you. That's a new thing for me, sir. Full moon in 4 days. I think that's what we have to hope and pray on, sir. We gotta put all of our hopes and prayers on the full moon now, because that's again, hopefully that does get the big bounce. Again, I really do think Bitcoin coming down early in December opens up the possibility for something good long term. If Bitcoin were to just rally from the beginning of December, I think that would have been quite a bad idea. But yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Tams. We'll look at that right now, man. I guess you'll look at this a little bit later. ICHN says some sort of a Chinese. Am I typing this right? Hold on. ICHN. Yeah, this is correct. So on Euroderp next. Okay, so you are popping back up to your 2021 highs. Is this thing ready to break out? So whenever I see these sort of charts, let me get it back here. I want to look at my RSI and see how high that is on this move already. Yeah, it is quite high. I have to kind of give the fucking chump out answer on this one and say, I'd be very, very bullish on this thing if it can close a monthly above 664, 665. At that point, I think you got a big fucking move towards $7.5, $8. But generally, when things rally back to a major breakdown point, they pull back on the first pass. And this is your first pass. So I personally think it's a little more likely to reject from here and come down to 5.5, more long term. It's going to take multiple fucking months, I imagine, to play out, maybe even like half a year. But I do think long term, it's probably a good setup. It's just, this might take some years. So it might do something like this and then try. I don't think it's going to break out from here. I don't think it has the juice. I don't think it's got the juice, sir. But if I'm wrong, you'll know, because it closes above 665. At that point, big fucking girthy green dildos. Big fucking girthy green dildos. Let's see. Metaversal is back. He's looking at Avicii. I think we have to end this soon, though, guys. I do have more fucking housework to get to. Yeah, it's okay. Wow, it's actually a bullshit coin. Again, I always feel it's always difficult when it comes to shitcoins that actually are showing, a different chart than what Bitcoin's doing or what the majority of crypto is doing. But, you can be bullish on something like this. You have a very obvious reversal point. It's just below basically yesterday's low, $5.50. If you see a daily close below 5.5, that's where I get bearish. Until a daily close below 5.5, I mean, the trend is your friend. They're trying to see the upside, so respect it. But again, below 5.5, I would be real fucking quick to switch around because I'd be looking for a move down another buck or more, about $1.25 to $4.25, to follow that. It might take like a week, but yeah, somewhere down around there. Until then, the trend is your friend, and this one does have an uptrend. So can't hate it, man. Can't hate it. Super chats are addictive. It's all good, man. Thoughts on Trador? Bought the low at $60. Now I'm up 5K. That's fucking amazing. Wow. No wonder people love these shitcoins, man. The crazy returns are with the shitcoins, but unfortunately, the majority of losses are also with shitcoins. So you bought it at 80, or you bought it at what? You bought the low. Okay, so you bought this low right here. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, look, it's breaking the prior high, so I'm not going to be bearish on that. Just need to see it close above 5.25, and at that point, yeah, I'd use that as a pivot, meaning that as long as you're about 5.25 on a daily closing base, I'd have to be bullish. But again, man, when it comes to these shitcoins that are just rallying out of nowhere, a lot of the time these are popcorn rallies, man. A lot of the time these are popcorn rallies. They fail, and when they fail quickly. But for now, I would treat it like a breakout. If it closes above 5.25, and there's no real upside targets for me to be giving on something like this because it's just way too new, and I just don't even trust that kind of shit with, this trader coin. It's like, it's not even, I'm sure they're solving the world's problems, right? You know what I mean? Hey, it's all good. Is it real? It's all good, man. We're just trying to do our best with the shitty ass internet that we do have right now. I think it's time to get some new internet after this. The Schwab. All right, last one for the Schwab. Last one for Mr. Kloss. He says, late to the party today. Did you take a look at SoFi? No, we have not. So let's go do that really quickly. Then we're going to shut this baby off. SoFi, a real stock, long-term, decent chart here. I think that you might have a pullback intra-month to like 27.5, but that's not necessarily bearish, just, pullback. Even then, right now on the weekly look, this thing is bullish, and I really have no reason to believe it's bearish as long as you're above this price action pivot here to the downside, which is 23.5. So as long as you're above there, I'm generally bullish. Just up and to the right. I don't have like a time frame for you. I don't have targets for you, nothing like that. But I just use that as a pivot point. You might get a short-term pullback, like I said, intra-month here to like 27.5 to $28. That's fine. Generally going to be bullish on this chart until last month's low is taken out. When that gets taken out, I'll get very fucking bearish. At that point, looking for a move down to like $19-20. But yeah, I think that's where we'll end things for today. Yeah, short-term probably does play at that pullback though. All right, cool. We shall go back to doing some housework. Oh my God, it is absolutely overwhelming to be setting up a new home. Oh my God. It's like a constant fight with fucking water and moisture as well. Very, very fun. But yeah, man, really enjoyed the stream, even with the early stream shittiness. I really do apologize about it. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I think it's just time to get another internet and capitulate waiting for Google Fiber and instead just get something better in the meantime. So I think that's what we'll be doing. That's what we'll be calling after this. Just add it to the list of things to do. More things to do. Always things to do. But I guess it means that, shit won't be boring. Anyways, thanks again for joining in. As always, I wish everyone the best of the best. It's been an absolute pleasure on this nice and lovely little Monday morning. As always, I wish you the best of the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully on